What if the moment you thought your life was ending was actually the moment it truly began? Cherry O'Brien never imagined her future would hinge on a single command shouted through the freezing Montana air. The wagon wheel crushing her leg felt like the world itself had fallen on top of her. The dirt road on Thunder Ridge grew darker by the second, the sun already gone beyond the mountains. Cold wind tore through her torn dress. Blood soaked the fabric near her thigh. Her hands shook as she tried to push the heavy wheel away, but it would not move. Her driver had run off in terror when the wagon tipped. One scream. One crash. Then he vanished into the trees. Wolves howled somewhere in the distance. The forest around her felt alive with danger. Cherry's breath quickened until she heard the first sound of hope. Hoofbeats. Slow. Steady. Coming closer. She prayed it was not bandits. A tall rider emerged from the tree line, lantern swinging from his saddle. He stopped, dismounted, and walked toward her with the calm steps of a man who had seen far worse nights than this one. "Spread your legs so I can reach the wound," he said firmly, kneeling beside her. His voice carried urgency, not threat. For a moment she froze, fear gripping her chest. Then he added, "I'm a doctor. You're bleeding fast. I need space to work, or you'll lose your leg." His tone was steady, controlled, not cruel, not mocking. Just a man trying to save a life. Cherry stared into his eyes, searching for danger, but she found only focus and something almost like sorrow. She obeyed. The man tore open his saddlebag, pulling out cloth strips, a flask of whiskey, and a small set of tools. He worked with hands that moved confidently, as though pain and chaos were familiar companions to him. "My name is Dr. Samuel Crawford," he said. "I was a surgeon in the war." "Hold still." Cherry clung to a rock as he examined her leg. Pain shot through her body like fire. "Why stop for me?" she whispered through clenched teeth. He didn't look up from his work, because someone once stopped for me when no one else would. The wind howled across the ridge. Snowflakes drifted down. Cherry watched him through blurry eyes. He looked close to 40, though the lines on his face held more years than that. Gray streaked through his dark hair. A scar cut across his jaw. His coat bore the faint mark of the Union Army. "You're trembling," he murmured. "Stay with me." When he finally freed her leg from beneath the wheel, the pressure vanished, and the pain hit her full force. She cried out, gripping the earth until her nails broke. "I know," he said softly, "but you're safe now." Safe. No one had ever said that to her. Cherry O'Brien had never been anyone's first choice. In every town she passed through, people judged her before she even spoke. At 23, she carried a body people whispered about. Too big, too loud, too much. No one cared who she really was. She came west, searching for a chance to start over, to work as a cook at the Henderson Ranch. It was supposed to be a new beginning. And now here she lay, wounded and helpless, on a cold mountain road. Samuel Crawford built a splint with practiced hands, his movements steady even in the dark. He cleaned the wound with whiskey, apologizing gently each time she winced. He stitched with precision, muttering instructions mostly to himself. "Done," he finally said. "I'll get you out of here." He lifted her carefully onto his horse, then mounted behind her, one arm steadying her as the horse began climbing the mountain trail. The lantern swayed. Snow whispered through the pines. Cherry leaned back against him, weak and shaking but alive. "Why live all the way up here?" she asked quietly. "The mountains don't judge," Sam said. She swallowed hard. "And the people?" "There are no people." They rode deeper into the dark forest. The broken wagon disappeared behind them like a piece of her past, swallowed by shadow. For the first time in her life, Cherry felt the darkness carry her somewhere instead of drowning her. After a long climb, the forest opened into a clearing. A small wooden cabin stood there, warm light glowing from its single window. "Is that your home?" she asked faintly. "Yes," Sam said. "And tonight, it will keep you alive." He carried her inside. The warmth hit her instantly, smelling of pine, smoke, and medicinal herbs. Shelves held jars and books. Tools were neatly arranged on a wooden desk near the fire. He set her down in a chair. "Let me tend your leg properly," he said. "You've done enough," she whispered. He shook his head. "You're under my care now. That means I see this through." As he worked, she studied him in the firelight. His brow furrowed in concentration. His movements were gentle, careful, steady. This rugged, haunted man had saved her without hesitation. "Why help me?" she asked softly. He paused, meeting her eyes. The fire flickered across his face. "Because no one deserves to die alone on a mountain road," he said. Something inside her cracked. Not from pain, from the shock of kindness. That night, as the storm strengthened outside and the fire warmed the cabin, Cherry realized something she never expected on Thunder Ridge. Her life had not ended on that road. It had begun. What happens when the place that was meant to save you becomes the place you're terrified to leave? Cherry woke to the soft crackle of the fire and the warm smell of coffee drifting through the cabin. Her leg throbbed, but the pain was dull now, wrapped tightly in clean bandages. A thick quilt lay over her, patched in many colors, worn from years of use but warm and comforting. She didn't dare move at first. For a long moment, she just listened. The quiet steps, the gentle clink of metal, the steady rhythm of a man who knew how to take care of things. "You're awake," Sam said from across the room. He stood by the stove, sleeves rolled up, stirring something in a pot. Morning light slanted through the window, painting his broad shoulders in gold. His hair was damp, as if he had stepped out earlier to gather snow for water. "You shouldn't sit up too fast," he said, crossing to her. His voice was firm but gentle. When she struggled to rise, he slipped a hand behind her back, guiding her with surprising care. "I'm sorry," she whispered, cheeks warm. "I don't mean to be trouble." "If you were trouble," he said with a faint smile, "I'd have left you on the ridge." Quote. She stared at him, shocked, until she saw the tiny spark of humor in his eyes. A laugh tumbled out of her before she could stop it. "Oh," she said softly, "you're joking." "Dark humor," he said, "comes with the job." Days passed, then weeks. Cherry learned the rhythm of life on Thunder Ridge. Sam rose before dawn. He chopped wood with calm precision. He organized his medical tools the way a soldier arranged weapons. Nothing out of place, nothing left to chance. And every morning he checked her leg. Always gentle, always focused. It was strange to be treated with such care, strange to be looked at without judgment, strange to feel safe. When she was strong enough to stand, he carved a polished crutch from a branch and handed it to her. "You didn't have to do this," she told him. "Didn't have to save you either," he said, tying the last strip of cloth around her calf. "But here we are." She practiced walking while he watched from the corner of the room, arms crossed, pretending he wasn't ready to leap forward if she stumbled. One evening, as he replaced her bandages by firelight, she asked quietly, "Do you ever get lonely up here?" His hand stilled for a moment. "It's quieter than the war," he said. "That's all I wanted." "And people?" she pressed softly. He looked away. "People leave." She didn't ask more. Some wounds were deeper than stitches could reach. Cherry tried to help in the cabin, even when her legs still ached. She peeled potatoes. She stirred soup. She swept the floor with short, careful movements. "You'll undo all my work," Sam warned the first time he caught her standing. "I'd rather undo your work than feel useless," she said, chin lifted. He shook his head, but she saw the smile pulling at his lips. "Fair enough," he said, "but if you faint, I'm not carrying you again." Evenings became their favorite time. He read medical journals by the fire while she mended torn sleeves or listened to the wind move through the trees outside. Sometimes he read aloud, his deep voice steady and calm. Listening to him felt like placing her heart in a safe place. "You remind me what gentleness sounds like," he said one night, not quite looking at her. She froze, needle poised above fabric. "No one's ever called me gentle," she whispered. "You are," Sam said, "more than you know." Spring crawled in slowly. Snow melted. Birds returned. Cherry walked without the crutch now, only limping when she was tired. She felt stronger. She felt seen. She felt like the world wasn't trying to crush her anymore. But peace never lasts long on Thunder Ridge. One night, Sam sat outside under a sky full of stars, holding a small silver locket. Cherry stepped out quietly. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked. "Haven't slept much since 63, he said. "The war?" "And what came after?" He opened the locket. Inside was a portrait of a woman and a baby. Cherry's breath caught. "Your family?" He nodded. "They didn't survive the fever that swept through after I came home. I tried to save them." A doctor should save his own family. The pain in his voice was heavier than anything she had felt in her leg. "I'm sorry," she whispered. He didn't speak. The mountains were silent around them. Then hoofbeats broke the quiet. 3 riders, lanterns swinging. One man wore a deputy's badge. "Stay inside," Sam ordered. Cherry obeyed, watching from the window. "We're looking for a runaway named Charity O'Brien," the deputy said. "Worked for the Hendersons. Money went missing. We think she stole it." Cherry's heart slammed against her ribs. "Runaway, thief, blame, it was happening again." Sam's stance hardened. "No one's come through here all winter." The riders exchanged looks, suspicious. "If you see her, let us know," the deputy said. They turned and disappeared into the forest. Cherry stepped into the doorway, trembling. "It's not true," she said, voice breaking. "I never stole anything. The ranch owner's son did. He hid the money before he ran off. But who'd believe someone like me?" Sam looked at her, silent. A war raged behind his eyes. He had brought danger to his door, without realizing it. "You should have told me," he said quietly. "I thought it didn't matter anymore," she whispered. "I thought I could start over." Quote, he stepped closer, voice low. "You can. But shadows follow us, whether we invite them or not. Are you sending me away?" His silence cracked something fragile inside her. Then he reached out and cupped her cheek gently. "No," he said, "but if they come back, we'll face it together." Cherry's breath shook. Relief washed through her. But peace would not return so easily. 2 nights later, the riders returned with rifles. Nowhere left to hide. Nowhere left to run. And for the first time in her life, Cherry O'Brien refused to be afraid of who she was. Wait, before we move on, what do you think about the story so far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious to know. What if the moment you finally stand up for yourself is the moment your whole world changes? The knock at the cabin door was hard enough to shake the walls. Cherry jolted upright from her chair, her heart racing. Sam was already awake, shotgun in hand, steady as stone. "Stay behind me," he said. The riders stood outside with lanterns and rifles, their faces sharp with anger. Snow drifted around them in the cold night air. The deputy smirked. "Evening, doctor. You lied last time. That girl is here. We tracked her prints." Sam didn't flinch. "She's under my care. You'll need more than rumors to take her." "You protecting a thief now?" the deputy growled. Cherry stepped forward before Sam could stop her. Her hands shook, but her voice was steady. "I never stole anything," she said. "The Henderson boy did. He hid the money in the smokehouse before running off to Helena. I saw him." The woman rider sneered. "And we're supposed to believe the word of—" Sam cut in sharply. "You're supposed to believe the word of a doctor, and a man who has no patience for false accusations." The deputy's hand twitched near his pistol. Cherry swallowed hard. The world felt frozen in place. Sam's rose slightly, not in threat, but in promise. "You take one more step toward her," he said calmly, "and you'll find out how serious I am." The mountain wind roared between them, cold and sharp. For a long moment, no one breathed. Then the woman rider grabbed the deputy's sleeve. "Tom, he's not bluffing, and there's no bounty for dead lawmen." The deputy hesitated, anger and frustration twisting his face. Then he spat into the snow. "You're making a mistake, Crawford. Harboring a fugitive brings the rope." Sam didn't blink. "Then bring a tall tree." The riders turned their horses and disappeared into the dark forest, their lanterns fading like dying stars. When the last hoofbeat was gone, Cherry finally exhaled, her knees weak. "You could have been killed," she whispered. "So could you," Sam said, lowering his gun. She stepped closer, trembling. "Why do you keep risking yourself for me?" Sam set the shotgun aside and faced her. The firelight caught the lines of his rugged face, softening them. "Because something changed the night I found you," he said quietly. "Something in me woke up again. I don't know if it's love or redemption or something I don't understand yet, but I'm not letting the world take it away." Cherry's breath caught. Her heart felt too big for her chest. She rested her hand against his chest, feeling the steady beat beneath his shirt. "I'm not running anymore," she said softly. "Not from them. Not from my past." His eyes softened. "Good," he said. "You're stronger than you think." The days that followed were slow and gentle. Spring warmed the valley. Snow melted into clear streams. Cherry began walking without limping, her body growing steadier, her heart even more so. Inside the cabin, life settled into a new rhythm. She baked bread again, filling the home with warm smells. Sam split wood, his steps lighter than before. They shared quiet meals, small smiles, and long evenings by the fire. But it was the moments in between that changed everything. The way Sam brushed a loose curl from her face when she laughed. The way Cherry placed an extra quilt on his bed after a cold night. The way silence between them felt safe instead of lonely. One evening, as the sun dipped behind Thunder Ridge, Cherry stood on the porch. The sky burned orange, then softened into violet. Sam stepped out beside her. They watched the day end in comfortable quiet. "You know," he said softly, "you could still go east. Or anywhere. Start fresh with no fear of who might come looking." Cherry turned toward him. The fading light touched her hair, her cheeks, her green eyes full of truth. "I already started fresh," she said, "right here." Sam looked at her for a long moment, something warm and steady growing in his expression. Then he reached for her hand. Their fingers intertwined, rough and gentle at once. "Then stay," he whispered. "This is your home now, if you want it." Cherry's throat tightened. Tears gathered in her eyes, but they were not from pain. They were from something deeper, something she had never been given before, a choice, a place, a person. "I want it," she said. "I want all of it." Sam pulled her into his arms. The mountains stood tall around them, silent and strong, as if they approved. The wind softened, the valley breathed, and in that quiet porch light, two broken souls finally found the kind of peace they never thought they would deserve. Thunder Ridge had given them pain, it had given them danger, but it had also given them each other, and that changed everything.